NeuroTronik is a development stage venture-backed medical device technology company. I'm Fred McCoy, the CEO, and by video, I'm going to introduce several other important members of the NeuroTronik extended family. We're working on a novel therapy approach for the treatment of heart failure in the hospital, the number one reason that older folks go to the hospital. This particular admission is complex and it is costly. We're bringing an approach that we believe is simple and cost-effective. The way that we do this is that we are generating control of heart rate while simultaneously generating control of left ventricular contractility for the express purpose of promoting cardiac output. This particular approach is unambiguously promotable. It does turn out that this approach will allow physicians to better manage patients and as a consequence of that, get them out of the hospital sooner and have them come back at short follow-up less frequently, which will be important to payers. The way that we accomplish this is with a completely novel approach to neuromodulation. We get control independently of the parasympathetic system and the sympathetic system at the heart. And we deliver percutaneously by the attending physician a neurocatheter. That neurocatheter has electrodes in the vasculature just above the heart, and that interacts with the neuromodulator. That neuromodulator is bedside and available for the physician and the clinicians to program. We developed this concept as the culmination of years of work in the field of neuromodulation, and it's been plenty interesting.
The NeuroTronik system is designed to literally control the control system. So we can control the amount of sympathetic tone that's delivered to the heart as well as the amount of parasympathetic tone. The first time I saw it working was in an experimental model of heart failure, and it dramatically increased the cardiac output and reduced the end diastolic pressure. So it very much increased the amount of blood the sick heart was able to deliver to the body, while at the same time reducing the amount of pressure that was backed up into the lungs. So that was dramatic, and it occurred so quickly. It occurred within seconds.
This electrical approach to neuromodulation computes into a market that will measure into the billions of dollars on an annual basis. The other thing that's interesting about acute heart failure syndrome admissions to the hospital is that most of them are consistent or come along with major complications. That provides fertile ground for the growth of NeuroTronik therapy.
Boy, we have been treating patients the same way for decades.
There's no question there's a need. This is a very large patient population, and there's an unmet need in terms of having therapies that are proven to be effective and not only helpful in the short term, but helpful in the long term.
Well, I think the excitement about this has to do with the discovery of a lot of nerves that affect the heart and the body, that we're now just discovering those bundles and how to access those. And the amazing thing is, through a fairly simple vascular approach, they seem to be accessible. And delivering the equipment to that area, and then having the technology to help the doctor titrate that to what he wants, I think holds a lot of promise.
So yeah, this is a revolution.
So indeed, the doctors are excited. We've gotten ourselves venture funded, and I'm delighted to say we have an excellent group of Series A investors. We've put together, as you can see, a valuable scientific and medical advisory board. Additionally, we put together a very solid team of engineers working away at the Series A deliverables, and that group is located here in North Carolina.
At NeuroTronik, we've built a really experienced but small and focused team, and they're doing great work so far on our neurocatheter and neuromodulator products.
The results in our preclinical research labs and in vivo studies show precise and dramatic control over heart rate and blood pressure.
In our preclinical testing, When we engage the cardiac autonomic nerves, we see immediate changes in heart rate and blood pressure. In favorable directions, we also see a dose response that is controllable and measurable. The resulting effect is dramatic improvements in cardiac output.
One of the unique things that they've done here is identified a site in the body where it seems that the control mechanisms are separate and they can change the accelerator and hit the brake separately. So it works out nicely.
Next up for us in 2015 is to take this technology to humans with a human neurocatheter study scheduled for the fall. That'll clear the way for our next round of financing for the final system design, for pivotal clinical studies, regulatory approval, and on into the market in 2017. Everybody involved with the project is plenty excited.
The most important benefit is going to be the benefit to the patient.
The net effect we anticipate is going to be less work for the heart, but better blood flow to the
This is
patient.
my last one.
I think to the physician, starting from my point of view, it gives me a novel therapy to treat my patients to get them to an optimal state as quickly as possible.
From my perspective as a chief operating officer of a hospital, I see this as a great way to reduce the length of stay of patients by getting them better quicker, stabilizing the patients so they're less likely to be readmitted, reducing costs on the hospital side, and improving our ability to take care of and manage populations of patients who are sick with problems like heart failure. This is the kind of thing that somebody like me has been waiting for. I'm a cardiologist, I'm a hospital administrator, I'm a passionate patient advocate. This hits every point in my wheelhouse.
That's the story of NeuroTronik. We're creating a new trajectory for people with heart failure. Thank you for your interest.